Hey Mixers, welcome back into another WNBA player props video. I'm looking a little ratty today because I've been working from sunup to sundown and I just didn't have time to clean up yet. Hopefully I'll get in the shower while this is uploading and um and have a good night's sleep tonight. But let's get into the recap of yesterday and then we'll get into the plays that I have for Wednesday. All right, so we basically had a 50-50 day. So 2-2 on the money lines, 2-2 on the spreads, 2-2 on the totals, but we only did bet on one spread, and that did come through for us. We'll go over that in a minute. The best bet, we only had one. It was Aaliyah Boston over 8.5 rebounds. She only had six. She did lose a few minutes here and there to some foul trouble, but honestly, she should have had that. Lexi Hull got a ton of rebounds. So did Michaela Timpson. Um, and also Anissa Morrow had 16 rebounds, so that was part of the problem as well. But yeah, I think it's a fair loss. I mean, it was a good play, I thought, but it didn't come through. On the leans, Alicia Gray over 19.5 points. She had 21, and then Kiki Rice over 12.5 points. She only had 10. Shot 4 for 12. So the attempts were there. She just did not shoot very well. And then, of course, all the plays I call out in the deep dive came through that we didn't end up adding in, but that's okay. Like Diamond Miller, for example. I did end up betting on her, but I forgot to make it a best bet for the channel. That's okay. We're still above 50% on the best bets and the leans. And then on the game bet, we did come through with the spread. We took Chicago plus 4.5 against the Liberty, and they won outright by 7 points. And then Gabby's playing right now. It's the first quarter. She has 0 points. It's halfway through the first quarter as I'm filming this right now, but obviously by the time you see this, the game will probably be over. So we'll have to review that on the next one. So getting into the games for Wednesday, we've got the Fever and the Wings. Fever are minus 3.5 point favorites. Obviously, AZ is going to be out. Jess Shepard is going to be playing. Kelsey is probable. Caitlin is probable. Their last two head-to-heads this season have been high scoring. So 211 in the first game of the season. Dallas won that game. And then 185 in the second game. No Jess Shepard, no AZ. They were still able to get to 185 total. Although the Fever have been surging lately. So, I mean, they're number one in offense. They're number seven in pace lately over the last 5 games. And over the last 5 games, their defense has slipped back down. They're at 10th over the last 5 games. Meanwhile, the Wings are 8th in offensive rating, 14th in defensive rating, and 13th in pace. So not great for the Wings. The trends are the Fever are 5-1 to the over in their last 6 away. They're 10-2 in the last 12 straight up. So they're on a big winning streak. Dallas is 3-9 in their last 12 straight up. So they are on a losing streak. So I'll just roll with the stats. So over the 155 and 185.5 for the total, minus 3.5 for Fever and the Fever money line. All right, the Sun and the Aces, they've played twice already this season, both earlier in the season before Layla Lacan joined the team. And the totals were 167 and 195, both in Connecticut. And the Aces won both of those games. The first one was a big win, and then the second one was a closer game. So lately, the Suns have just been pretty bad. I mean, they've been playing okay. We called them winning the other day. The Aces lately have been bad. So they've been slipping over the last 5 games. They're only 10th offensively, 13th defensively, and 12th in pace. The trends are Connecticut is 0-5 to the over in their last 5 games. The Aces are 0-4 to the over in their last 4 games. So both teams are playing to unders lately. And the Aces are 4-1 ATS in their last 5. So I'm not going to follow the stats at all on this one. I'm going to lean over the 168.5 because I think that the Aces defensively have been slipping. And I think that the Sun could surprise us again like they did. I mean, they didn't really surprise me because I picked them to win against the Sparks. But I feel like there's another soft matchup that the Sun could exploit if they want to. I don't know if they're going to get Aaliyah Edwards back or Griner back. Doesn't really matter to me. I just think this is more a matter of like the Aces probably aren't going to try that hard as long as they get the win here. So I'm going to take the over. They're going to let the Sun score. Connecticut's going to cover the 13.5, and then the Aces will ultimately win the game. That's what I'm thinking. And then for the Dream and Sparks, they've played once already in Atlanta. The total was 193. No Kelsey Plum in that game, and Atlanta won by 9 points. And the Dream are a terrible covering team. They're second to last or dead last in the league at 13 and 22 ATS. So just so you know. And then the Sparks were the number one over team earlier in the league, earlier in the season, but they're not playing to overs as much lately. They're 0-5 to the over in their last five as a dog. They're 4-0 ATS in their last four as a home dog. They're 8-1 ATS in their last nine versus winning teams, the teams that have a record over 500. So they've been covering even against good teams. And the Sparks are on a 5-game losing streak. The Atlanta Dream is 0-4 to the over in their last four on the road. So both teams in their last 4 or 5 games have been playing to unders. So I'm going to take the under again here, under 181.5. And then I will take Atlanta to cover, -8.5. They already covered this in the earlier head to head when the Sparks were actually playing to win, and now they don't care. And then I'll take the Atlanta money line. So the best bets I have for you are a little scary today. You might not want to follow them, but here they are. Jessica Shepard under 30.5 PRA. She's over in 62% of the last 21 games. That drops to 43% in the last 21 games with Alana Smith on the court. And then that drops to 0% in the 4 games without AZ that Jess has played this year. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's just a good shot. She could always get like 15 rebounds. And so I thought about just doing points and assists. And that's honestly not a bad look. But I ultimately just decided to go in on all of it. Now, the teams that she's missed against without AZ have been tough teams to rebound against, like the Valkyries and the, Valkyries are tough to score on, and then the Dream are tough to rebound on. So these were some tough games. She also hasn't been playing full minutes in the last 3 games. So she's coming off an injury herself. I don't know if she's going to play full minutes in this game. I assume that they will work her back up to 30 minutes eventually. Maybe she'll get 30 minutes in this game. So that means she needs 1 PRA per minute. And it is a pretty good matchup, honestly, against the Fever. But she did only have 31 in a head to head earlier this season. So kind of just trying to bank on the fact that she's going to lose some usage to Alana Smith. Might not play her full minutes. Like, there's a lot of ways we can get to an under. But it is scary because Jessica Shepard has been so good this season. We've cashed on her a ton of times on the over. All right, best bet for Ryan Howard over 3.5 rebounds. I tweeted this out because I couldn't believe we were getting this at a normal payout. She's over in 67% of the last 21 games. She had 5 in her earlier head to head, and you can see she has a really good head to head record against this team, especially this year and last year. But even the year before, not too bad either. And not much else needs to really be said about that other than we're going to be playing some competing rebounds in this game because we're also going to be playing next one here, Angel, over her 28.5 PR. I haven't really gone in on Angel a lot this season because she's very boom bust. Like, she'll have really bad games where she sits for foul trouble or just can't shoot. And then she'll have really good games. So I've been kind of staying off her this season for the most part. She's over this line, though, in 52% of her last 21 games. That does go down to 41% in away games, which is not good for our stats. But I just wanted to throw it out there so that you can see that I'm not trusting the stats in this case. Because this is a good matchup. She had 36 in the head-to-head earlier this season, but that game did go to 192, so don't forget that. She also does rebound a little bit better in away games and score better at home. So if you want to just go in on the rebounds, it's not a bad look. Especially with like Bree Jones is gone, and I don't think Hamby and NECA are going to be dominating the boards like Angel does. So yeah. All right, I have a lean on NECA under 8.5 rebounds. The reason it's a lean, I love it. It's just the reason it's a lean is because by the time that I tweeted it out, the best price I can find on it is like -140, and that is too much for me to count as a best bet. So my best bets are normal payouts. I do not count bets that are heavily juiced as best bets because they're favored to hit. But I do like it. She's over in only 43% of the last 21 games. That does go up to 50% at home. But she did only have 5 in the previous head-to-head with Atlanta. So I'm hoping we can cash another under here. All right, here is the best bet screen. We've got the 3 best bets, kind of a little risky, but I'm going to go in on them. The lean and then the game bet that I didn't talk about, but I'm going to just pick all the favorites. Plus 144 is the price I got. So the Fever at the Wings without AZ. I could see the Wings winning that game, but the Fever have been super hot lately, and the Wings are on a losing streak, so I'm just going to ride that streak. And then Aces versus the Sun. Honestly, I could see an upset there too, just if the Aces don't try that hard to win the game. but they are at home. So their coach just got kicked out of the game in the last one, and so they're coming off of that emotional game. So yeah, I think that they get a win here at home. And then the Dream against the Sparks, I guess I could see an upset there too. So I could see an upset on any of these games, but I'm just gonna roll with it. An all favorites parlay for plus 144. All right, let's go ahead and jump into Props Madness. We'll do a quick little deep dive. I know there are 4 games, but I'm going to try and get through it quickly because it's been a long day. All right, so we're starting with the Fever and the Wings here, and we're starting with Kelsey Mitchell. And I like Kelsey Mitchell because she has a great shot chart. Over the last 5 games, the Wings have been allowing a ton of 3-pointers above the break, mainly because AZ's not there. So, yeah, I like Kelsey Mitchell in this game. I like Caitlin Clark to shoot a bunch of threes in this game as well. And so 24 and a half, I think it's good. My only issue is that if they completely blow out the Wings, which I don't think is going to happen, then she maybe doesn't get here. Or if, one of the other players goes off. So I lean to the over on Kelsey Mitchell. On the assists, I'm not touching. I don't like to play the rebounds and assists on Kelsey. And then over 3.5 3-pointers made is just like absolutely insane. Like, I would not be betting that, even though it's plus 134. But I do like her to make a bunch of threes in this game. So yeah, no combo lines for Kelsey. We're gonna lean over on the points. I don't know what the first quarter points line is gonna be. 7.5 does seem like a lot. She did just have 16 against the tempo. I don't think she's necessarily gonna do that again. I wouldn't touch these first quarter, first half props if I were you. And then the free throws attempted, I'm not sure about that either. I'm not gonna touch that. All right, Caitlin over the 23.5 points. I do lean over. She has the same great shot chart as Kelsey Mitchell above the break. She's probably going to take some threes. So Paige is probably going to be on Caitlin for the most part, and then AZ would normally be on Kelsey Mitchell, but she's not there. So it'll be Enrique, and it'll be some of the other guards. But yeah, I like Caitlin and Kelsey to have a good game. So I lean over on the 23.5 points. On the assists, I'm not so sure. She only had 7 and 10 in the 2 head-to-heads, so I'm not going to touch the assists. I think that's toxic. She only had 7 in the game against the Tempo, which that's a really good assist matchup. So she really should have had more than that. Rebounds 3.5. Yeah, I don't think I'm touching the rebounds. I probably would lean to the over. It seems a little low to me. It's heavily juiced to the over, so that makes sense. The threes over 2.5 is heavily juiced as well, so there's no value betting her threes, honestly. I guess if you wanted to do like a threes ladder over, I don't think there's value in it. No, I don't. I wouldn't do it. Yeah, there's just not enough value. So it's points, I think, only over the 23.5. And I don't know what kind of, let's see. I'm just going to look at these other plays. Turnovers at 4.5. Free throws attempted. Yeah, I don't think we need to play any of those. Okay, Aaliyah Boston, 16 points. She had 23 and 16 previously. She only had 16 in that last game against the Tempo, and that was a really good matchup for her. And so she should have been able to cash out and get more than that. But this is also a high number for her. Like normally, her normal line last year was like 14 and a half. And then this year it's been like 14 to 15 and a half. So it was 17 in the last game, and I told you that was too high. She did still almost get there, but I just think it's too high. I think it's too high. But she could be the one that goes off. Like someone's going to go off and have a really big day. But I think with Michaela Timpson in the starting lineup, like that hasn't helped Aaliyah Boston necessarily. So, like, let's see if we can put that on here. Well, we can put on with Michaela Timpson on the court, but we can't put with Michaela Timpson in the starting lineup. There's no filter for that. So, but basically, it's been these last like 5 games, and she's been okay. She hasn't been bad. I don't know. It's not something I am screaming to bet on. The assists over 2.5, I do agree, and it is heavily juiced, so they're not giving us an edge there. Checking in on the game, it is end of the first quarter. Gabby only has 2 points, so that's looking like a bad play. The rebounds at 8.5. I'm gonna lean over again, but I won't play it since we just got burned on it. Then threes. Let's see. Yeah, I guess we don't need to play the threes either, but I like her to get at least 1, maybe 2. But she's probably only going to take like 2, 3, or 4, like somewhere around there. Not a ton. We are getting a first quarter points line of 3.5 because she hasn't been doing it. Head to head, she also didn't do it both times against this team. So it's not technically a good play, but I like the over. First half points at 8.5. I think that's definitely too high. So I think you could fade the first half points. Um, I don't know. It's risky, but I would lean to the under. I'm not going to do it. Turnovers, I'm not interested in, and I'm not interested in the free throws either. I wouldn't really count on Michaela Timpson necessarily going over her lines, but I think it's too low to fade. But I'm going to lean towards an under. And then Sophie, 7.5. I'm going to lean to the over, but I'm not going to play Sophie. She's too inconsistent. And then Lexi, I'm not going to play either for the same reasons. All right, so Paige, I do lean over on the 28.5 points. She had 20 and 29 in the two head-to-heads. Without AZ, she has had, like in the most recent stretch without her, she's had 17 plus and 21 plus in 4 out of the 5. So I think she's going to score. So I lean over on the points. I kind of like the assists as well. The assists haven't looked as good without AZ, but she missed twice against the same team, the Valkyries, and hit in most of the other games. So I lean over on the assists. I'm not sure who those assists are going to be going to. Like Jessica Shepard, Alana Smith, obviously, but like I don't know who else. And so it's too risky for me to play. I think I like the points better, but I like the over on both. Rebounds, I probably like the over as well. She had 3 and 6 in the previous head to heads. Without AZ, she has had like mixed success. She hasn't rebounded as well. But I would lean to the over on that as well. So like 4, 5, 9, 29.5, like 30. So 30.5 PRA, it's like pushing it, but I lean to the over on that as well. First quarter points I don't want. First half points I don't want. Steals and blocks I don't want. Turnovers, I don't know. I don't know that the Fever really get a ton of steals and blocks, but Paige has had a lot of turnovers. I probably would bet the over on turnovers if it's at like 1.5, which is where we got it the other day. But if it's at 2.5, maybe that's starting to get a little bit too high. And it should probably be at 2.5. So Arike has been great without AZ. Like she's over in 4 out of the 6 games, and she's over in, let's see, 3 out of the last 5 in the most recent stretch. So she's just been great without AZ on the court. But I can't trust her, and that's a really high number. So I'm not betting the over, but I think that, I lean over. Arike's tough to trust, as you guys should know by now, from last year and from this year. The only thing I think I really like is the free throws attempted if we really get it at 4.5, because that's the projected line. Without AZ, she's taken 6 plus in most of those games. So I'm thinking free throws attempted might be the way to attack Arike tomorrow. Jessica Shepard's points line has already gone down by 1 point since I started filming this. It was 14.5. Let's see if her PRA has gone down. Her PRA has not gone down yet, so you could still fade the 30.5 number. But now her points are juiced to the over on the 13.5. She did have 13 against the Fever in the one head-to-head she played this year. She had 9 assists, and then she had 9 rebounds. So if you just want to fade the points, that's probably what a lot of people are doing, which is why it got bet down. But I'm just going to go the full PRA. Hope she doesn't put up a crazy stat line anywhere. First quarter points, I'm not touching. And then first half points, like I don't even know how many minutes she's going to play, whether it's going to be 26, 30, or 35. And so I'm taking a risk on the under on the PRA. All right, Alana Smith, I lean to the over. She's just been over consistently lately. And she has been taking 9 shots, 11 shots, 7, 13, and 6, and 8. So we are hoping for 7 to 12 shots from her. And we're getting a 10.5 line. So I think she has 11, 12 point upside, which she's been doing. And so I lean over. The assists I lean over, definitely. The rebounds I lean over. So I do lean over on everything. So like 5, 6, 7, 8, 18.5 PRA. Yeah, that's the right number. But I think I like the points the best. Odyssey Sims, she's been good with AZ out too. Not in the last game. She had a bad game, but She had two really good head-to-heads against this team specifically, and so I would expect her to have another good game here, basically. But I'm not betting on Odyssey Sims. If anything, I would go in on Alana Smith if I'm betting an over, and probably Paige even before Alana Smith. So yeah, I don't want anything else on Odyssey. The Dream and the Sparks, Alicia Gray doesn't have a good shot chart. So maybe she doesn't go over, but she does have a soft matchup in general against the Sparks. But it's not good enough for me to play in this one. Not going over on the assist, but I'll lean over. And then on the rebounds, same thing, I'll lean over. But I'm already going in on Angel's rebounds and Ryan's rebounds. So I'm not also going to go in on Alicia Gray's rebounds. The threes, minus 146, there's no value on the over 1.5 threes. And they're number one against the 3-pointer right now because they've got their best defenders are the wing defenders. So it's kind of like the Sky where they're not a good team, but their best defenders are on the wing. So I think they're going to be comfortably winning this game. And so I don't think Alicia Gray is going to be needed to play hero ball at the end of the game, get a bunch of free throws. I don't think that's going to happen. The over 4.5 first quarter points is tempting. She only had 3 in the last head to head. She only has 35% in away games, but lately the hit rate's been there. So that is tempting, but I don't think I'm going to do it. And then only 4.5 free throws attempted. It's pretty low for someone like Alicia Gray. But again, I just don't think she's going to need to draw those fouls on purpose because they're going to be winning. Ryan Howard, I think I would go under on the 18.5 points. It just seems like too much. She only had 11 in the previous head to head. Shot about 40%, but she doesn't have a good shot chart, same as Alicia. So I'd lean under on the points for Ryan. Over on the assists, over on the rebounds. That's my leans. And then we are playing the rebounds. I don't think I want anything else. Steals and blocks is kind of interesting to me, but I don't think I want anything else. And then Angel, it looks like her points line has already gone up to 16.5. It was 15.5, so people are betting this. She has a good shot chart. Down low, 84% of her shots, and they rank dead last in the WNBA right now against that restricted area. I'm not leaning over on the assists because she hasn't been doing it lately. Didn't hit it against the team head to head. And then the rebounds, I do lean over because she makes more shots at home. So she goes over her points line more often at home. And I'll show you. I'll just show you. So at home, she's over 58.8% of the time on points, only 41% in away games. And then the rebounds is the opposite because she's missing her shot. She's getting her rebounds. So at home, she's only over 47% of the time. And I guess in away games, it's only 41, but we're getting a high number. But earlier in the season, she was rebounding better in away games and scoring better at home. But I would take her here. I'm taking the PR 28.5. It has bumped up to 29.5, it looks like. But I already got it at 28.5. I guess with the bump, I would just take rebounds alone because that's the only line that hasn't bumped yet. But it is heavily juiced. Well, not heavily. It's juiced to the over. All right, first quarter points. I guess if you feel like you missed out on the points line, you could take first quarter points because this is a soft team. She had 6 first quarter points against them the last time they played. She doesn't do this a lot because she misses a lot of her shots early in the game. But I would lean to the over if we get it at 3.5. This is just a projected line. And then I kind of like blocks and steals on her, but I don't think I've ever seen a blocks and steals line for Angel, or at least I haven't looked for one. But we won't get it till tomorrow. And maybe you could play it if it's like 1.5 steals and blocks, definitely. But if it's 2.5, I still think that's probably pretty good. Free throws, I would lean to the over. She had 8 last time. She shoots over the 5.5 free throws attempted 70% of the time. So I don't think they'll give it to us at 5.5. They're probably going to give it to us at 6.5 because that's about a 50-50 hit rate. So I think that's where we're going to get it. And I still lean over. So I think free throws might be the way to attack Angel as well, because you don't want to eat that bump line. All right, Jordan Canada, 11.5 points. She just had a good game. She had 16 against them head-to-head earlier, and she does score better on the road. So I kind of lean over on Jordan Canada. I lean over on the assists. She did have 9 last time, but lately she hasn't been assisting that well. And in away games, she's only been over this 4 times in away games this season. So she just has not played very well in away games. I still lean over because I just think this is a really good matchup. Then the rebounds, I don't think I'll play the rebounds. I'm already on too many people's rebounds. So yeah, for me, I think I lean over on the points and I lean over on the assists. So let's see, 7-18. The points and assist line is taxing you an extra line. So I would just do just points or just assists if you are going to do it. And I think I like the points better, actually. All right, Naz Hillman, I kind of like to have a good game if Angel has a bad game. So if Angel early on is missing shots, like if she starts 2 for 5, maybe we live bet Naz Hillman over her full game points line if she hasn't already been scoring and like the line is really high. So maybe, yeah, maybe we catch that live. Okay, Ray Burrell, 16.5 points. She's just been crushing it. Cam Brink should be back. I'm not sure if that affects her. Erica Wheeler should also be back. I don't think that affects her either. She had 18 in a previous head-to-head this season. She plays better at home. There's no reason to think Ray Burrell won't get over this line. So I lean over on the 16.5. Assists, I'm not touching. I'm going to lean under. Rebounds, I'm not touching. And I'm not going to even lean under. Like, that's too low of a line to lean one way or the other. So I lean under on the assist, though. We are getting a playable price for that. Yeah, I guess you could fade Ray Burrell's assists. She had 4 head-to-head last time, so she did clear it last time. That was in an away game. But she just doesn't assist that well or that often. Okay. First quarter points, not interested. Turnovers at 2.5, not interested. And free throws, probably not interested. So I think it's points over for me or nothing. Or free throws, because she does get most of her points from free throws, especially against this team. All right, NECA, 15.5 points. I don't know. I'm going to lean over. She did it head to head. She's been doing it off and on. It's not a good matchup, really, but it's not a bad matchup. So it's kind of just like an average matchup. I'm going to lean over on the 2.5 assists. I'm going to lean under on the 8.5 rebounds. We already discussed that. It's only like barely minus 140, so that's a decent price. Like you could put that in a parlay. Yeah, so that's what I like on NECA. And let's look at her turnovers. 1.5 is the projected line. I kind of lean over. So yeah, if we get another 1.5 turnovers for NECA, we're playing it again. So the last time when we did the turnover parlay, it was Paige and NECA who came through for us. And I think so. Let's play NECA again. Hamby 14.5. I lean over because it's just too low. She only had 12 last time she played them, but she has a history of crushing this team in the past. And that's with Bree Jones healthy for most of those games. Not touching the assists. I lean over on the 6.5 rebounds because it's just too low. But she has not been rebounding well lately, so I wouldn't play it, but I'm going to lean over. I'm going to lean over on the points. I think that's the best thing for her, and I think that's the best points line I've seen for the Sparks so far. So yeah, that's probably who I'd pick on the points. I'm not interested in Ariel Atkins or Erica Wheeler or Cam Brink because I'm not sure how many minutes they're going to play. And I'm not sure about these bench players for the Dream either, so I'm not going to play them either. All right, the Sun and the Aces. So if Grinder's out and Aaliyah Edwards is out, then Olivia Nelson-Adota has a good matchup, like down here in the restricted area and the paint. The Aces have been very weak lately. And so if they're out, then you're going to want to play Olivia Nelson-Adota again. But if they're playing, she probably gets like 10 to 12 points, so this line is clearly too high. And they're just questionable right now, Grinder and Edwards, so I'm not sure. Rebounds at 8.5, I would have to lean over if those two don't play. If they do play, I just wouldn't play it, but I think she can still get 7, 8, 9, 10 rebounds, even if those other players play. Yeah, that's about it for her. And then, she is a first quarter queen. So if you want to play over the 3.5 first quarter points when we get it, I assume it'll be 3.5, not 2.5. Then that's playable. Honestly, even if Griner plays, even if Edwards plays, I still think that's playable because Olivia Nelson-Adota, she really shows up in the first quarter. So yeah, that's a play. If we really get the line at 2.5 or 3.5. If we get it at 4.5, that's starting to get a little too high. All right, I said that I like Diamond Miller over 10.5 points in the last one, but I forgot to give it to you as like a best bet. And she had 13. She has a great shot chart. She can kind of score from anywhere. Head to head, she did only have 5 and 10. This was earlier when she wasn't getting very many minutes, and the Sun were messing around with the forwards rotations. Now it's just like with no Morrow on the team, it's just her, Kennedy Burke, and Aaliyah Edwards if Aaliyah Edwards even plays. So I do like her over, especially if Aaliyah Edwards is going to be out and if Griner's going to be out, because that gives her more scoring in the paint as well. So that's all I like for her. And then Layla Lacan, like, she has a good shot chart. She should get here, but same thing in the Sparks game, same thing in the Liberty game, same thing in the Mercury game, and she didn't get there. So I'm not playing her. The assists, I guess I'd lean over, but the Aces do limit assists. They're top 5 against assists right now over the last 5 games. So I just don't think Layla Lacan needs to be played. All right, Asia, 25.5 points line is very high. I would probably just lean under, but I'm not betting that because she had 45 points against them earlier this season. And then the rebounds at 9.5, I'd probably lean over on that. She rebounds, I think, a little bit better at home. Yeah, 63% at home over this line. So I do like that over 9.5 rebounds. And it's plus money, plus 106. So that's my favorite play for the Aces so far. I do like the free throws attempted at 7. She had 9 and 13 against this team. And they're like the number 2 team giving up free throws. Jackie's lines are a little high, and I just don't know who's going to have the good game here. It could be Asia having another 45-point game. Jackie assists better in away games. We know that. This is a home game. And then her rebounds did get bumped up. I told you in the last video to play it at 3.5. She had 5. And I would probably play it again here at 4.5 for plus 128. Let's see what 3.5 is. Minus 166. So you could play it over 3.5 again for minus 166, throw it in a parlay. She only had 1 in one head-to-head and 6 in the other one. So yeah, I'd lean over. Okay, first quarter points, no. And then turnovers, probably not. And then free throws, no. So I'm not really interested in Jackie that much. Chelsea, I probably just don't want to touch either. This is why I'm saying I could see a Connecticut Sun surprise because they haven't been playing that well, the Aces lately. Like they've been winning games, most of their games, but they haven't been defending very well, and they've been allowing quite a few points. So they did just lose to the Dream, so I think they're going to win this one. I think Asia just has a big game. So actually, I'm talking myself back into like Asia over 25.5 points or over the 12.5 first quarter points at home. Yeah, I think first half, sorry. First quarter or first half is like probably how I want to play Asia on the points. And then Nelissa Smith dropped back down to 22 minutes in the last game, which, I don't know why. She probably just had a bad plus minus. Well, she did have 6 fouls, so she fouled out of the game. I did watch part of that game, but I think I watched part of it with the sound off, like how I'm watching this game right now, which the Valkyries are losing pretty badly, which is not good for our Gabby bet. So I want to stay off Nelissa Smith. She is I don't know if she's only going to play 20 minutes, and that's scary. Jewel Lloyd, her lines are too low to fade, but I would like to lean to a fade. And then I don't know who on the bench is going to get the work and put up these extra points for the Aces, and that's why I think that Asia just has a really big game. So yeah, I think first quarter or first half on Asia, or even the full game points line, that probably has to be the play for the Aces. And then that's all I got for you guys. So I will get this edited, get it uploaded, and get it out to you over the next couple of hours. Unfortunately, it takes that long. And hopefully you like it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Get in for the cash prize giveaway with your picks. And then let me know on any additional plays you're going in on. Maybe I will ride with you. Thanks, guys.